So as I walk around the class, I see some of us are still struggling, especially with fractions. Like number 5, whenever you're multiplying, pay attention guys, whenever you're multiplying a fraction with a number, it's good to put that number or term over 1. So we will be distributing the 3/5. 3/5 times 5x. Let's actually write that out somewhere. Now, since there's not much space, maybe we want to write it over here to the side. Let's actually write out the 3/5 times that 5x. But that 5x, we're going to put it over what?
1.
There you go, over 1. Okay, that's barely distributing right here. We still need to distribute the 3/5 over here to the 10. And there's obviously a plus sign between it. So let me put a plus sign right here between it. And now let me distribute the 3/5 times the 10. But let me actually show my work. So I'm going to write 3/5 times what? Times 10. Right? That's distributing over here. Yes, it's going to be 30. But take it easy. All right. So the 10, we're going to put it over 1. And now, see, here's the deal, guys. When you distribute that fraction, it's kind of like having two small multiplication problems of fractions. So we need to multiply this fraction, write our answers together right here with the plus right between them. So when I'm multiplying, let's just focus in on this right here. You could say 3 times 5 and get 15x, and then 5 times 1 over 5. So on the side, I could do this, 15x over 5. And what's 15 divided by 5? 3, so you'd have a 3x, right? Or instead of multiplying top of the top, bottom of the bottom, you could be like, oh, there's a 5 up here and a 5 down there. 5 over 5 cancels out, right? 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. It cancels out. And then what do you have left? You have a 3x over 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1, but you don't have to put it over 1, but there is an x left over. So it's up to you if you want to multiply and then reduce to get the 3x, or if you want to cancel and then multiply and you get your final answer right there, nice and easy. Right here, 3/5 times 10 over 1. Yes, I could go 3 times 10 and get 30, and 5 times 1 and get 5, and then go 30 divided by 5. I could do that. Or I could cancel 10 and 5 and then multiply. So what do you guys want to do? Multiply first or cancel first?
Multiply.
Multiply? If you want to multiply, which I don't really do that, but if you want to, go for it. 3 times 10 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5. And then 30 divided by 5 is 6. So what we have here is 3x with the plus sign and then 6. The 3x, the plus sign, the 6. There's your answer, 3x plus 6 on that one. Now, just to give you guys the other option, instead of multiplying 3 times 10 and 5 times 1, you could have canceled 10 divided by 5 is 2, 5 divided by 5 is 1, and what do you have left? 3 times 2, which is that same 6. So it's up to you if you want to cancel first and then multiply, or multiply first and then reduce. I highly recommend trying to cancel first because it makes numbers smaller as opposed to bigger. So we had another one right here, number 6. We got a fraction. So let's show our work right here. I want to take this negative 1/2 and multiply it by 2x. Negative 1/2 times 2x. And then I want to distribute the negative 1/2 times negative 6. So if I wanted to, I could actually think about negative times a negative is a what? Again, negative times a negative is a positive, so I could put a plus sign right here and not have to worry about any more signs. Okay? I am going to write out my fraction 1/2. Now, why didn't I put a negative half if I'm distributing a negative? Why did I not put negative half if I'm distributing that negative half? Because I already said that a negative times a negative gave me a positive. I don't have to worry about signs anymore. I could just put the 1/2 and then times 6. Are you with me? Okay, so how do we multiply a fraction times a value? Put that value over 1, put that value over 1, and then it becomes two small multiplication problems. Get your answers, put the plus sign in between them, all right? So isn't it easier to just see this 2 up there and the 2 down there and cancel them out? Don't you think? 2 divided by 2 is 1, it cancels out. So what do we have left? We have a negative 1 times 1x. What's negative 1 times x? negative x. And then over here, 6 on top, 2 on the bottom. That's like saying 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So multiply top with the top. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. You don't even need it. There is a plus sign between it. So here's our answer, negative x plus 3. Is there any others that you'd like to see on this worksheet? Anybody? Let's take a look at a distributive, not a distributive property, a combining like terms problem. So right here we have 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are not multiplying anywhere. How do we know when we're multiplying? When there's no sign between the 2 terms. When there's no sign between the 2 terms. There's a plus sign, there's a minus sign. There's something separating all the terms, so we are not multiplying, we're thinking of money. However, we could only combine dollars with dollars, apples with apples, oranges with oranges, right? So we could combine the z's with the z's. And we are adding and subtracting. So think about that. What is 9z? That's like if you have $9. What's negative 3z? That's like if you owe $3. So how do you end up? You have 6 of those z's left over. And then you move on to combining the numbers with the numbers. We have a positive 4 combined with a negative 10. What do you have left over? If you have 4 and you owe 10, what do you have left over? You owe 6, negative 6. So there's your answer for number 8, 6z minus 6. Any other ones that you'd like to see? What about this one with the fraction? Everybody's cool with that one? Yeah? Just to give you guys some advice here, whenever you have like 1/2 or 1/3 or 1/5 or 1/8, if it's ever a fraction with 1 over a number, that's really like dividing by that number, by that denominator. So for example, if I told you, what is 8 times 1/2? Well, multiplying by 1/2 is actually the same thing as dividing by 2. So what's 8 times 1/2? It's really 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Does that make sense? Yes. It's kind of like a shortcut to know. So if I have that 1/3, that's like saying divided by 3, right? So 3 divided by 3 is going to be a 1. So negative times positive is going to be a negative 1x. If that confuses you, of course, show your work. That's the best option. So let's go with a negative 1/3 times a positive 3x. Negative 1/3 times a positive 3x. And we're going to put that 3x over a 1. We're going to take this plus sign and actually, let's not take that plus sign. Let me distribute the negative 1/3 times that positive 6. So a negative times a positive, what's a negative times a positive? Negative. A negative, so you put a minus sign right there, okay? And now actually multiply the 1/3 times the 6 and put that 6 over 1. So as you could see on this first multiplication of these fractions, the 3's cancel out nice and easy. What do we have left? We have a negative 1x. And over here, the 3 cancels with the 6. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 6 is 2. So what do we have left? We have the minus sign that's in the middle. And we have 1 times 2, which is 2, and 1 times 1, which is 1. And 2 over 1, you could just write that as. So it's very easy to make the mistake after doing that math that this is your answer, but it's not, because we still had this outside 2x in the front that we still need to bring down. So this 2x out here, you need to bring it down. So you have a 2x out here in the front. And then you combine like terms, right? Then you combine the 2x with the minus x. 2x take away x. That's a positive x with that minus 2 at the very end. That's your final answer. So I actually overlooked this 2x just now. I'm sorry. Distribute first and then see if there's any combining like terms, which there is with that 2x giving you that final answer. So just again, a reminder, we might have a pop quiz tomorrow, a lot shorter than this, maybe 10 questions, but same type of questions here.